Now recording. Mike sounds more and more thrilled every time he says that.
He's going to miss these moments when we're both dead.
Well, we'll be dead at his hands, so...
Yeah. I'm really going to miss you guys.
Yeah, I'm really... As he's stabbing us in the heart.
Yeah. Thanks, but I'm sorry the sentiment's a little lost on me at the moment.
On this episode of the MacGuffin Guild, we're gonna witness the story of the last 6 days in the life of Jesus Christ in Jesus Christ Superstar. This classic 1973 rock opera stars Ted Neeley, Carl Anderson, Yvonne Elliman, Paul Thomas, and Josh Mostel, directed by Norman Jewison. We're gonna talk about the works of Norman Jewison, rock operas versus musicals, this film's controversies, comparisons to The Passion of the Christ, and the game of telephone in human history. We'll dig into the intense talent of Carl Anderson, Justin and Pat's love for Steel Magnolias, and real violence caught on film. We'll also dig into the fickle nature of humans, Paul Thomas as Peter in both this film as well as 388 adult films, odd human tendencies, the perception of Jesus in this film, and the sexual appeal of an audio show. I'm Pat Doherty, and as always, I'll be joined by my fellow MacGuffins, Justin Jones and Mike Antonio. Our theme song was written and performed by Jordan Vincent. First, the stage show, then the film, now the podcast, Jesus Christ Superstar.
I raised you better than this.
And welcome to another episode of the MacGuffin Guild. As you all know, a MacGuffin is a plot device used to drive along a story, and we here on the Guild like to use a film as a MacGuffin to drive along our conversation. As always, I am Pat Doherty. and I am with Mike Antonio and Justin Jones. Justin, how's it going?
Yeah, thanks for that smooth transition. It didn't catch me off guard at all. Yeah, I'm doing well. I've been suffering from allergies lately, so if I'm a little nasally, that's the problem there.
Oh,
so.
Damn.
Also, I wanted to take this time to mention, I think people who listen to the show, this might be your first time listening to it, we generally try and keep, middle-of-the-road attitude about things. Try not to get too controversial about things. We understand that the world doesn't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you might not be right for some. It takes different strokes to move the world. But, sometimes we'll discuss things that might be a little touchy. But our opinions are our own opinions, and sometimes we differ on things, and you may differ with us or anything. So, if you do, please feel free to share it. And what made me think about this is because I honestly feel like Star Trek: The Next Generation is way better than any other Star Trek version out there.
I don't disagree with that, but I'm not as heavy into the original stuff because I guess that just when I was born, The Next Generation was kind of my jaunt.
I was going to bring that up. That's kind of like our childhood was The Next Generation.
Yeah, it's what we grew up on.
Yeah. So that might be a factor, but it is, and it was a good show.
Yeah. So feel free to disagree, but
however,
it seems like we're a unified front here.
I will say this.
So bring your friends.
Generally speaking, when it comes to Star Trek films, I like the films with the original cast more than I like the Next Generation cast. And that's not to say there weren't good films with the Next Generation cast, but I think the ones with the original cast were... I just hold most of them in a higher regard.
That's a fair assessment.
So,
first of all, Mike Antonio, how are you? You doing well?
Oh, I'm here? I didn't even realize.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
I was trying to throw us off, so I was going to see if we could go through a whole episode without introducing Mike.
Sorry that I'm here, folks.
Yeah. Well, listen, I do want to say this, though. I do think, Justin, we're getting ready to talk about Jesus Christ Superstar as the film for this episode, but somehow you found a topic that is far more controversial than Jesus. I don't know how you did it, but you did. So I can't wait to hear the hate mail that we get in regards to the Next Generation.
Somebody's going to say Deep Space Nine. Somebody's going to say Enterprise. Somebody's going to say Discovery. Somebody's going to say the J.J. Abrams.
There's going to be some smart ass that throws Babylon 5 in there.
What about Galaxy Quest?
Yeah.
Man.
That might be my favorite Star Trek.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite Star Trek movie. That's not a Star Trek movie.
I love
It's a
that
great
movie. That movie's awesome.
If you haven't seen it, turn this shit off and go watch it.
Yeah.
Go watch that now.
Yeah, stop
Sure,
wasting your time
streaming
here.
somewhere. Unless you're driving, in which case, focus on that right now.
Keep listening to this shit. Close your eyes and enjoy it.
Close your eyes. All right. Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, man.
Did that not...
This is going to be a doozy.
Is my pronunciation off there?
Well, there was a little bit too much of a pause between Jesus Christ and Superstar. We should definitely do a nice big spoiler warning for this movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For anyone who hasn't read the Bible.
For anyone. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Yeah, we're going to go to hell after this one.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, so Jesus Christ Superstar this week, and then next week, aren't we doing a special on torture porn?
I think we are, yeah. I think we're doing another historically accurate film, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh, yeah. Shit. All right, Jesus Christ Superstar is the film today, and 1973, rated G, 1 hour, 46 minutes. Directed by, I never knew this. I never knew who directed it. Directed by Norman Jewison. And he's done
Not familiar with him.
a fair amount of stuff. He's done, I mean, the big one, Moonstruck.
Yeah.
With Cher. He did The Hurricane with, I think that was Denzel, wasn't it? Is that the boxing one, right?
Maybe.
Jesus Christ Superstar, Moonstruck. I think those are the biggest ones.
In
yeah,
the Heat of the Night.
Oh, did he do that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Yeah, okay. In the
Okay.
Heat of the Night. That's pretty legit. Yeah, so
He's got a few classics under his belt.
for sure.
Sarah and I were flipping through the Criterion collection. We still have the Criterion collection streaming service, even though I haven't watched it in probably 2 months. But I saw that Moonstruck was on there. I was like, oh, did you ever see Moonstruck? And we were talking about it, and when I clicked on it, I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize that was Norman Jewison that did that too, and we're just getting ready to talk about Jesus Christ Superstar.
Wow. So anyway, let's see. I don't know if there was any taglines for this movie. It seemed like...
It's, you know what?
You
a
read the
perfect
book,
one?
now see the movie.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like they could have some pretty killer taglines if they really...
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. 2 taglines. They're pretty straightforward. The first one is, and now the film. And the second one is, and now the movie.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Superstar.
Yeah, that's it. Not too
I guess
exciting.
because it was originally like a Broadway production.
Yeah,
or something like
stage
that.
show. Yeah.
Stage show. Thank you. I couldn't think what the word was.
So, yeah, and the music written by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, I did not know that till I watched the film. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and I think Tim Rice did the lyrics, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Him I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, so we will get into Rotten Tomatoes here in a minute. But for me, and I don't want to give my history just yet, but the one thing I will say is that there were so many sounds from this film that were unlocked in me, and songs that... All right, well, let me spoil a little. I hadn't seen it before. I had not watched this film all the way through. But as I was watching it, there were so many things that came up that I felt like I had watched before because it's so ingrained in pop culture that I was hearing things. It was like, oh, I knew that song and that melody, but I didn't know that I knew it because it's there.
Yeah.
All right, but before we get into things, first, a spoiler-ravaged synopsis. Adapted from Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice's Broadway rock opera, Jesus Christ Superstar recounts the last days of Jesus Christ from the perspective of Judas, his betrayer. As Jesus' followers increase, Judas fears that Jesus is falling for his own hype, forgetting the principles of his teachings, and growing too close to the prostitute, Mary Magdalene. After Jesus has an outburst in a temple, Judas turns on him in Jesus Christ Superstar. Rotten Tomatoes, shall we swing over there, folks?
Let's do it.
Sure, let's get it on there.
Tomato meter, or thermometer, however it is pronounced. Would you guys care to guess what Jesus Christ Superstar has based on 25 reviews?
Justin, you want to take it?
Critics 78.
Okay.
I'm going to go critics 84.
I think you guys will be surprised. 52%.
Wow. I am very surprised, actually.
What audience score? What do you guys think? Higher or lower than critics?
Higher.
I say higher.
78.
Mike?
84.
Justin almost nails it. 76.
Okay.
Oh, man. I just picked my birth year. I figure I'd go with that.
We'll start with some negatives because there seems to be a good amount of them.
Well, I mean, I guess I could understand people having issues with this film.
Yeah, I do wonder how much of it has to do with the fact that people, religious folk that believe in this, do they look at this as a slight, or do they look at it as like sacrilegious in any way? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's a serious question.
I'm sure, like anything else, there's a subset that do and others that don't.
I do know there was a bit of controversy surrounding it. Like, apparently the BBC banned the record because they said it was sacrilege. So I have written in my notes to fact check that afterwards because Norman Jewison said that on the director's commentary, and I didn't fact check it. So if it's wrong, blame him.
But he said it. I'd say he's a pretty reasonable source of insight. David Parkinson from Empire Magazine says, if it weren't for Lost Horizon, this would have gone down in history as the worst musical of 1973. For anyone keeping track.
Yeah, let me list off some of the other musicals from 1973.
What were the other ones?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did he mention any points that he didn't like about it, or is he just like, yeah, this is...
Well, there's, I mean, I can get into the full review here, but there's, that's just again, a potentially misleading snippet, although he did give it a 2 out of 5, so.
Oh, yeah.
Don Drucker from Chicago Reader says, the music quickly becomes monotonous and the operatic dialogue is silly right from the start.
Well, to be fair, he may be right. I've been watching this movie ever since as long as I can remember. But, so I originally saw this as a child, so maybe it is silly and I just grew up with it and saw it so often and just accepted it. But I'm going to say he's wrong.
I will say this, and I have this issue with any musical that does this. When they're trying to like have a dialogue scene where people are talking back and forth, but they do it in a sing-song way, it can seem forced and awkward sometimes at points. I much prefer when they like have scenes of straight up dialogue and then scenes where they break out into song. You know what I mean? Yeah. As opposed to trying to sing the entire script. That to me can get awkward at times and it can feel clunky. Or George Lucas would call it McClunky.
McClunky. I feel like that's the difference though, that it's not that because it's not really a musical because it's not like there's music numbers in it. That's why they say it's more of a rock opera. Because that's exactly what an opera does, where they just everything's in song. Yeah. And it's rock music. And they said it's like one of 2 rock operas ever, but
And that's just a personal preference of mine. I mean, to me. But then again, at the same time, I'm a huge fan of Reaper the Genetic Opera, and they do the same thing in that, where it's kind of like the sing-song dialogue. So, fuck me, right?
Yeah. No, I gotta watch it again. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah. All right. So Time Out says, despite the impressive desert locations and the array of tanks to represent the ills of modern militarism, it's still staged like a student review.
Well, I think that's the point.
Yeah.
I think literally it's intentional.
That sounds like it came from someone who knows way more about film than I do, so I'm not going to touch that.
I mean, it literally shows them in the opening of the film showing up in a bus, buses and setting up. Like they literally are putting on a stage show. So, yeah, that's the setup. It's intentional.
Yeah.
He missed that apparently.
Yeah, but I guess even still, I think he's saying perhaps if you have such impressive locations, maybe he felt they didn't live up to the the potential of what those locations had to offer
Well, sure.
in the way they,
But
you
to
know,
me,
they blocked it or staged it.
That's a definite personal preference. I like the fact that it kind of pulled back the curtain and showed you that this is an acting, singing troupe performing this. Instead of a stage, they're performing at a location.
Yeah. It was cool that it was all ruins of places that stuff like this could have actually occurred.
Yeah.
Because it was filmed in Israel, wasn't it?
Yeah. You know, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah.
The locations are fucking fantastic.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Tim Brayton from Alternate Ending says, surely a candidate for the worst stage-to-screen musical adaptation ever.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, here's the thing. I don't watch stage productions. Like, not that I don't like, I just don't really check them out. I would like to.
I don't
but maybe
either.
If I came from a position of like watching stage productions and then going to see this, and I might have a different opinion. But since I was pretty much raised on this movie without ever seeing a stage production, I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Blow it out your ass, guy. What's his name?
Tim.
Tim. Blow it out your ass, Timmy.
Oh, shit. I'm sure Timmy is nice.
No, I'm sure he's nice. I was just joking around.
All right, TV guide. Yvonne Elliman is electrifying as Mary Magdalene, and Carl Anderson couldn't have been better as Judas, and I do want to talk about him.
Yeah, me too.
But Ted Neeley as Jesus is more whiny than heroic.
That's fine, because the movie's not about Jesus, despite his name being in the title. The whole movie's about Judas and his point of view and things. Like, Judas is
It's
it's a Judas
from
movie.
Judas's perspective, yeah.
But no one's going to go see a movie called Judas Christ Superstar.
I'd go see Judas Priest Superstar, though.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Like if they had a musical or a film called like, you know, Judas the Traitor the musical or some shit like that, I would be all about it. Like that would sound pretty legit.
Yeah, which this honestly should have been. He's the first character that has dialogue, and he's the last character you see when the movie closes. Even Tim Rice said that when he wrote this, he thought it would be really interesting. He's like, to write something from the perspective of Judas.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
We'll do one more negative here. Renee Schoenfeld says, and she's from Common Sense Media, she says, dated unconventional rock opera has some violence.
What, by dated?
Look,
I feel...
I'm not even going to even comment on that because that is just asinine.
I feel like commonsensemedia.org is more a resource for parents to go to kind of like assess what a film consists of prior to, you know...
Let's put it this way. It would be pretty common sense to assume that a story about Jesus Christ would have a little bit of violence.
Just a touch.
And then it might be a tad bit dated.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, God.
Shit.
Check and see if they have a review of Passion of the Christ, if you don't mind. Can we just...
Oh, yeah, here. I'll look it up right now. They gave Jesus Christ Superstar 2 stars. Passion of the Christ 3 stars, and they say controversial film is extremely violent and powerful.
Okay. Well,
They're not-
at least
they're
they're
not
being
wrong.
honest about the violence. Yeah.
Let me ask you, have you guys seen that film?
Nah.
Yeah, I haven't. I
Wow.
feel like I saw a portion of it when it came out,
Okay.
but I don't think I ever sat and watched it all the way through.
I've
I mean,
seen
for
it.
no reason in particular. The opportunity never presented itself.
I like really over the top cartoonish violence in movies and stuff. I can't get all like it just like anything that simulates real violence is really like upsetting to me. Not like super upsetting where I go in
Anaphylactic shock?
yeah, it doesn't put me in anaphylactic shock or anything, but I just don't really like anything that's like when people are like, oh, but it's so real, and it's like I don't like that. I mean, sometimes I can appreciate things that are real, like, but my particular taste in movies, I like real over the top violence and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I worked with a guy one time, and he was talking about those video. There was a time, you guys remember? I think it was like 10 years ago, roughly. Remember they were always advertising on TV these videos of shit caught on tape, and it was like people getting hit by trains and stuff like that.
Yes, I remember that.
It was like on TV they would advertise that. And he's like, "Oh, did you ever watch those?" And I was like, "Dude, I cannot watch that." He's like, "Well, you watch all these horror movies and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, that's like fake. I don't want to see
totally
someone
different.
I
get hit by
remember
a train
that.
so hard their head flies into the camera."
I know.
Like-
they would, but on the commercial, they would freeze frame it like right as the impact is getting ready to happen. And then that almost made it more terrifying because now you're creating the reality in your mind.
And then
I
you put
remember
like a
that, dude.
graphic of like an explosion or something. Whoosh, call now and get a discount of 20. It's like, imagine your like final moments on this earth are like immortalized by someone like posting an ad over your body right before it explodes.
Dude, I'm telling you. Well, Mike, this would be a prime opportunity for us to talk about the time that we hunted out all the what were they called?
Death?
Faces of Death films.
Oh yeah.
The first one, I could tell upon first viewing, there was plenty of stage stuff.
Oh yes,
in that.
yeah. Now there is
sure.
real stuff in it too, but there's definitely a lot of stage stuff, and they did later admit to that it was scripted and acted out and stuff.
What gave it away for me is when during the alligator attack, they actually had an alligator point of view camera, and I was like, okay, this is bullshit.
Yeah, like I've seen some of those and like the Mondo films of the like 70s and 80s.
Or like Mondo Kane.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. I don't know which ones I've seen, but I've seen a few of them. And it's funny because I was just talking about this weirdly enough with my wife and her two sons yesterday, because I guess her youngest son he said he's seen some like videos online and stuff of like people dying, and I'm like, you shouldn't be watching that. You're 13, but okay. I mean, I can't really. I mean, the internet is everywhere, so what are you gonna do? Yeah. But that led down a rabbit hole of me talking about some of the horrible things that I've seen. Oh, and it is upsetting. Like, I'm not like one of those people that's like that it doesn't affect me. Some people watch it. Some people watch that stuff and like laugh about it.
Yeah,
like, ha ha ha, that guy, look at that guy. Me, it actually like I don't like it, but me, it's kind of like a curiosity thing. Like, I don't want to watch it, but at the same time, I'm like, well, it's here now and I have to see it because it's here. It's making my stomach churn just thinking about it.
Well, let's not think about it anymore. Let's talk about crucifixion.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to cut all this shit out.
That's good.
Isn't it crazy though how much things have changed?
Yeah.
Since when we were 18 years old.
Yeah.
And we literally had to drive around to video stores and see if we could rent these movies.
A VHS copy.
Yeah, a VHS copy, and now you can literally be sitting on your shitter with your cell phone and access anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent, whatever. I mean, it's just wild how much in 20 years, 15 years, things have changed.
Pat, do you remember?
It is crazy.
Do you remember Rotten.com?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I do.
I remember Rotten.com.
Yeah. All right, so what I want to know is how has Jesus gotten us here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ask him.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, maybe we are proving the point of Jesus right now because us as humans are going down roads that we're not capable of handling.
You don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
I know I'm not ready to handle any of this.
I like to break out that quote as frequently as possible.
Say that. That was a good impression, Mike.
You don't want to go down that road.
Oh, that's the best.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes dead is better. When you got that one of those in you?
Yeah.
All right, so let's swing back over to Jesus. And
right.
So the Passion of the Christ, a little more detail on this, commonsensemedia.org. Extremely graphic and intense violence, including whipping and crucifixion, could cause nightmares in younger children. Very disturbing and violent images involving Jesus, Satan, Judas, and others.
Well, yeah, kids shouldn't watch that. Duh.
So they don't pull any punches. So let's look at the violence in Jesus Christ Superstar in comparison. Oh, well, this is going to give spoilers right away. The very first sentence is a major spoiler. Should I read it? Maybe I'll just bleep it out.
Well, I think people know what happened to Jesus.
Well, it's not that. It's Judas.
Oh.
So the very first sentence says, Judas commits suicide by hanging himself. Jesus is flogged. 39 lashes leave him bloody and weak. The crucifixion sequence is lengthy and graphic, with many shots of bloodlust on the faces of those who watch. Most are gleeful. Jesus' followers are intimidated by modern-day weaponry, tanks, rifles, as well as pitchforks, swords. In a fit of temper, Jesus destroys a marketplace. A group of poverty-stricken and diseased citizens crawl along the ground, begging for help. Man, they make it sound pretty horrible.
Yeah, but it's all child's play.
Yeah, none of that stuff was like graphic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the gaffer stubs his toe while filming a scene while they're in it. Like, it's not that violent.
Yeah.
It's pretty tame. I mean, that's why it's rated G.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of violent. But then again, was it The Wraith? What was the movie that was rated G that had a lot of boobs and violence in it?
I think The Wraith was rated PG or PG-13.
PG,
and
that's right. Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of The Monkey's Head had a live execution in it.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was rated G.
And drug use, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a G-rated film, yeah.
All right, some positives. Let's see here. Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times. Jewison, a director of large talent, has taken a piece of commercial schlock and turned it into a biblical movie with dignity.
What was the schlock part?
A piece of commercial schlock. I don't know. Maybe is he referencing the stage play? Yeah,
probably
I'm not sure.
had a reputation of being schlocky in certain circles. I don't know. I know nothing.
I don't know much about the stage show.
No.
Mm-hmm. Matt Brunson from Film Frenzy says the Weber-Rice score and the complex interpretations of Christ and Judas win out over any shortcomings.
Yeah. I'm in that camp personally.
Ken Hankey from Mountain Express says flawed but still worthwhile film of the show. Christopher Null from filmcritic.com says overall some good songs, some interesting choreography, and some utterly forgotten actors. But he gives it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, that is unfortunate that that a lot of these people were forgotten because I thought a lot of them put some really intense performances in.
Yeah. Some of them did. Yeah.
John A. Nesbitt from Old School Reviews says, like a baptism by fire, Jesus Christ Superstar rarely leaves the viewer in lukewarm waters. B+.
It does move along very quickly. Like, it moves from scene to scene very rapidly. It doesn't seem to drag at all.
I do wonder if that is was the stage show known for like the quick transitions? Because I mean, obviously you have to pay a little more respect to that when you see it in a live performance. If they're going
I was going to say if it's a stage performance, it probably was. They usually
but from one large set piece to another with a quick transition kind of situation.
Probably.
I don't know. Jerry Shamray from Your Movies at Cleveland.com says Ted Neeley is great, but the film never rises to the material. I mean, that's a positive. He gives it a 3 out of 5, but maybe he was a big stage show fan. I don't know. Ted Prigg from rec.arts.movies.reviews.
I'm sorry.
I mean, there's literally a website listed here.
I'm sorry.
It's like
this guy's a real prig.
Okay, maybe I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. It's spelled Prigge. How would you say that?
Prig?
Prige?
Prig?
Ted Prigg from
Can't priggy with it.
rec.arts.movies.reviews says /.html says
.gov.org.
yeah.
Semicolon 0251.
At AOL.com.
If only all biblical films could be this groovy.
I mean, he's not wrong. I think that's probably the only
very
groovy biblical film. I mean, right?
I mean, have you Googled groovy biblical films? I mean,
I'm sure Jesus Christ Superstar pops right up.
Cool
it's
film.
just this and Godspell that come up.
Oh, is it?
What's Godspell?
I don't know. I'm assuming, Godspell was another Jesus musical that came out the same year.
Oh, I don't even know that one.
Son of God. That's a film from 2013, apparently. Son of God.
What's that about?
I'm not sure.
Did you Google groovy Jesus movies?
Groovy biblical films is what I...
Oh.
And it's not surprisingly, Jesus Christ Superstar is not the first one to come up.
Wow, I am actually surprised.
It's pronounced Priggy. North German and English. Voiced variant of Low German, Middle English, pricky, piercing tool. From Dutch pricken to pierce or prick. Hence a metonymic occupational name for someone who used such a tool. Like cutting peat, catching eels, or indeed tattooing. Or in the case of the English name, possibly for a maker or user of pointed weapons. German from an old personal name of uncertain origin. Priggy.
Wow.
Which is why I called him a prig.
Yeah. So very fascinating last name.
Yeah, for sure.
That's interesting.
Now that we got that straight, Justin, this was your selection.
Certainly was.
And what would you care to reveal your history with this film and how it ended up on the MacGuffin Guild?
Sure. So, my mother was a huge fan of this movie. And it's funny, as I get older and now that I'm an adult, like I kind of understand more like how she was and why. Because I feel like this movie is like a combination of two things. It's about like, you know, Jesus and Christianity and all that, and hippies. And my mom was like a little of both.
Yeah.
So I think that's why this movie like really resonated with her. And we watched it all the time. Like this was like an Easter movie. You know what I mean? Like Easter comes around, you're watching Jesus Christ Superstar or V. I remember for a period that was a thing.
V?
Yeah. Visitors from out. Yeah.
Wow. That's quite the double feature.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember as a kid, like my mom and dad arguing over my dad wanted to watch something about like Native Americans, and my mom wanted to watch something like V, and it was around Easter time, and I didn't know what either one of those things had to do with Easter.
Then they would settle on Jesus Christ Superstar?
No, I think my mom won that one. They watched V.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but anyway, yeah, my mom was a huge fan of this, and so we watched it all the time. We quoted it all the time. Like, it's just been part in our family. Like, everyone in my family's seen it. As a matter of fact, a few years back, probably about 5 years ago, maybe, they did like a live version of it on TV with like John Legend and like Alice Cooper was in it and stuff. And my whole family got together to watch it.
Did Alice Cooper play Jesus?
No, Alice Cooper played.
Did he play like Pontius Pilate or something?
I think he was Pontius Pilate or Harold, maybe. I can't remember. I think he might have been
Herod.
Herod, yeah, thank you.
I was like Harold.
I meant to say, yeah, I got it mixed up with
Harold Ramis.
Harold and Kumar.
Harold and Kumar.
Yeah. But
Harold and Kumar at the Last Supper.
Yeah.
That was their good sequel.
Yeah. But that John Legend, dude, like John Legend's the truth, dude. That dude could sing. I was like,
yeah, he can.
I didn't know shit about him before that, and I watched it. I was like, oh, this dude's amazing. Everyone in that was amazing.
So was he Judas? Who was he?
He was Jesus.
Oh,
he played
Jesus.
Probably. I can't remember. It was 5 years ago, but I'm pretty sure he was Jesus.
Okay, hold on. I got to look this up now. Yeah, he played Jesus. Wow. Yeah. Alice Cooper played King Herod.
Okay.
Herod.
Brandon Victor Dixon played Judas.
Don't know who that is.
He did a great job. I don't know who he is either, but it was good. 2018, so that was
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
So that's what. So it was mainly you have deeply ingrained memories of your family watching this, your mother's history with it, and obviously holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah, because my mom was raised Catholic, and then I think she kind of moved away from her. She's one of her siblings I think that moved. Well, now they're retired. They moved, but she was the only one that moved out of South Philly. So I think she kind of she was venturing outward. As hippies do, and
to Delaware,
to Delco, to Delaware County, yeah. But I don't know. That's just I think it's just it was always huge. And actually, I'm not a super religious person, and I think most of my religious knowledge about Jesus probably comes from this movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for better or for worse.
Well, I mean, I've seen other films, about Jesus, like I mentioned, The Passion of Christ, Last Temptation of Christ. I like that movie.
I like that one too.
The basics are the same in all those movies. It's there's details that are different, but the basic gist of the story is always the same. So yes, you getting your education of Jesus from Jesus Christ Superstar, you get the basics.
And honestly, I feel like the Bibles that we know and everything, like the stories that are written there are like way after the times when everything happened anyway. So it's people recounting back hundreds of years, or whatever. Like, when did the King James Bible come out? They didn't know.
Well, there's that factor, plus the fact that different rulers through time have changed aspects of the Bible, rewritten parts, added parts, taken parts out. So the Bible isn't even the original Bible.
Yeah, and there's different versions.
Yes.
Isn't it kind of like the game, what was it, Telephone or whatever? Where you whisper something down the line, and by the time it gets to the end, I mean, and this is over generations.
Yeah.
So, it is. So it is one of those weird questions that none of us are truly ever going to be able to answer with, exactly what did go down compared to what we hear about what went down, and how many people had their hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah, we don't know what the buzz was 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, what's the buzz?
So, Mike, your history with this flick?
Zero history. I had never seen it before. Of course, heard of it, and like you said, Pat, some of the music I already knew. Just pop culture. But other than that, no history. But as I already mentioned, I'd seen some other films based on, Jesus and other biblical films that touch on that too, besides ones I've mentioned. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head. But anyway, so I was interested, definitely, because I do, generally speaking, like musicals. There's a few that I don't like, but I like a good musical, and I would put this in that category.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I had never seen it before, so.
I don't even like musicals, and I like this. Well, I think I don't like musicals, and then I'll watch something like, it's pretty good, and it was a musical, so.
Phantom of the Paradise.
I don't, exactly. I don't normally seek them out, but then sometimes,
Rocky Horror.
I think it's like, a friend of mine said one time, and I think I brought this up before about, I was like, I don't really listen to jazz. I was like, he's like, that's ridiculous. That's like saying you don't like rock music. It's like there's like so many branches, and so it's like such a wide depth. Wide
range.
A wide range. Sorry, let me take a break and restart that.
You meant deep width.
I'm sorry, deep width. Thank you. There's such a deep width. A variety of those genres and subgenres, and
Sure, just like metal.
Yeah.
There's, thrash metal, heavy metal, black metal, death metal, blah, 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 on and on. Symphonic metal. Same thing.
Aluminum metal.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so are you finished, Mike?
Yeah.
That's your history?
Yeah, there is no history.
Okay. So, yeah, same. No history here. Although, I am astounded, and I think it's damn unfortunate that I myself never knew the talent of Carl Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That disappoints me to know that I missed out on his works. I mean,
I still know nothing.
Thankfully, a lot of them still exist, but he has since passed.
Okay.
He is no longer living, and it's horrible. And he played Judas, for anyone who hasn't seen the film, but he actually died, 4 days before his 59th birthday?
Oh.
And he was diagnosed with leukemia in the summer of 2003 while touring in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar. This is via IMDb. Though they played enemies in Jesus Christ Superstar, Ted Neeley, who played Jesus, and Carl Anderson were great friends. This is apparent in the commentary 2005 DVD release, where Neeley often says, "I miss you, Carl."
Yeah.
Neeley sang a song, I'm guessing from Jesus Christ Superstar, at Carl's memorial service.
Oh, wow.
This is a really cool personal quote from Carl via IMDb that I thought was really cool. It says, I have lived to see Jesus Christ Superstar recognized as a masterpiece. So that's kind of neat. At least he was alive to know that he was part of something bigger than himself.
Yeah.
And at least his memory and his talent will live on forever. But this is what I will say to anyone out there, because for me personally, this was a film, whether this is right, wrong, whatever, this is a film that I never in my mind thought, I should sit down and watch Jesus Christ Superstar. Like, again, this is another blessing of the MacGuffin Guild that I have now been exposed to this art.
Yeah, same.
What I will say to anyone out there listening who has no interest in watching Jesus Christ Superstar, watch it only for what Carl Anderson brings to the table. I think that alone is worth a viewing, because that man was serious. Like, he was hands down my favorite part of this film. And to me, he was like Heath Ledger's Joker in Dark Knight. Like, I don't give a shit what else happens in that movie. I'm just sitting back and waiting for him to be back on screen.
Yeah.
Through the entire length of the film. And it is not a surprise to me that they put him in the role of Judas, knowing that this film was written, or the stage play, this work was written through the eyes of Judas. And the fact that Carl Anderson, a black man, mind you, which, I mean, we have to touch on this, whether this is right or wrong, there is a large portion of modern day America who are Christian, who believe in their heart of hearts that all of these individuals, these historical figures, are white men and women. And whether that's right or wrong, that is not my point. My point is this: there is a deep-rooted belief by a lot of people that is fact. And the fact that the producers of this stage show as well as film were so adamant about putting the right man in the role, they were willing to deal with the backlash of that decision. I could totally see that being a taboo thing back when this film came out.
Yeah. Maybe
I'm wrong, and maybe this is touchy territory. The fact that he was cast in that role, there was a reason he was cast in that role. And what he brought to the table was just legit.
To me, he was leagues above everyone else. And that's not an insult to anyone else, because most of the other people were very, very, very good as well. But he just stood out, like, so high up.
I think from the director's commentary, they mentioned something about, like, that issue had come up about, like, which it's always going to, people are always going to find, what they want to see in something. But they were like, Mary wasn't a Hawaiian woman either, so it's a stage, it's like basically a stage production where you just find, like, it's all about finding the best person for the job. And they're like, Carl Anderson was the best person for the job. So it doesn't matter.
And
like,
I think that's freaking awesome. Look, for anyone who's listened to the show before, they know that is the kind of shit I hone in on. Get the person who's right for the job.
Yeah.
Knowing at the time, so what, this film came out in 73. I could totally see that being a taboo time for them to cast a man in such a high-profile role, in such a historic figure, and having to deal with some backlash. Although it may be a bullshit backlash or not, it's still something they would have to face. But I love the fact that they stood by their guns and they cast the man who was right for the part, regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless of skin color. I love that shit.
That reminds me of Night of the Living Dead with what the hell is the actor's name?
Dwayne Jones.
Dwayne Jones. They cast him so George Romero says they didn't cast him because he was black to do some social commentary, although that came out of it because of his casting. He cast him because he was the right actor for the role. He was
awesome.
And he's because he is the right actor.
That to me is a bit more impactful too. I feel like, because Night of the Living Dead came out in 1968, which I feel like in the 60s it was like there was a little more sensitivity about it, but I feel like by 1973 people were kind of starting to come around a bit. I mean, that was after the Summer of Love and all that, you know what I mean? Like, still controversial nonetheless, but I feel like in the 70s people were starting to be a little more cool,
Some people.
Well, dude, it's 2021. So some people still aren't cool with certain things.
True.
And it is a little unfair. I mean, I wasn't alive back then, so I'm not basing this in like direct knowledge of the time. I'm just basing it on how I would perceive the time. I mean, yeah, but Justin, you make a good point. I'm sure there were people when they saw Hamilton
Yeah.
You have a bunch of historical figures being played by black men and women.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some people who are like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Carl Anderson. Watching him on screen, not knowing who he was. Like, I never knew who Carl Anderson even was.
I still don't.
Until I watched this film, and I was like blown away by his talent. And that's my ultimate point.
Yeah. And I guess in hindsight, this has always been staring me in my face my entire life. Because I never, in my entire, like, as a child, I never was like, hey, mommy, why is that guy black? Like,
Yeah.
when I was watching it as a kid, it never occurred to me. I was like, wow, this is insane. Like, because everything from the beginning just doesn't make sense to begin with. So it just, and I think them arriving on the bus and just setting up and there being tanks and guns and Roman helmets and whatever, like, it just, none of it makes sense. So it gives you freedom to just have the best person. So I never, like, as a child, ever thought, like, anything was weird about it.
And that's wonderful. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. So let's talk about Carl Anderson real quick. So his credits, and unfortunately, he only has 16 actor credits.
Criminal.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
His first credit is Jesus Christ Superstar, as far as film goes. The Black Pearl, I'm not familiar with, 1977. He did a bunch of TV, Starsky and Hutch, The Rockford Files, The Incredible Hulk in 1979.
Oh, wow.
Hill Street Blues. But then he was in The Color Purple in 1985. Reverend Samuel. So now I'm intrigued to go check that out.
I've never
I'm
seen that.
Telling you, now I want to see this man on film again. Like, that's how excited I am to see his stuff. But those would be the two biggest films. And I didn't even know how much he's in The Color Purple. It might be one scene for all I know. But he does a lot more TV after that. The 80s, he does like Magnum P.I., Days of Our Lives, Another World. He was in an episode. But that's pretty much it. And his last role was in Mello's Kaleidoscope, which is a short film. And that was it. So,
Damn shame.
yeah.
It really is, man.
Yeah.
Any other actors that stood out to you guys? I guess we do need to talk about Ted Neeley.
Probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, he does play the Son of God.
I gotta be honest with you, I was kind of underwhelmed by him.
Were you?
Yeah, but not to say he was bad. I guess just in comparison to Carl.
Carl Anderson, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I didn't think he was bad. I just was kind of like this. I mean, this is supposed to be like, you know, I didn't think he was like powerful enough in his singing, I guess, is what I'm... I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I see what you're saying. And one part where I feel like he kind of breaks out of that, because he kind of plays it kind of a little reserved through most of it. But towards the end, there's one song where they start playing all the imagery of Jesus and stuff, that real breakout when he's questioning why he has to die. Man, when he's like, why? And it's like, holy shit, man, that still to this day gives me chills.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty amazing. But, like, I do agree, through most of the film, he kind of seems pretty reserved compared to Carl.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Carl didn't help him. I mean, okay, that came out wrong. I think they do complement each other, but I think Carl is on such another level that by nature, I think we kind of compare apples to oranges there. And then it's not really fair to Ted Neeley because there's such a powerhouse, you know, opposite
Yeah,
him.
like I said, he's not... there's nothing wrong. He's fine in the role.
Well, also, look at the story, too, because then it makes a little more sense, too. In the story, Jesus is just like, whatever, we're doing his thing. We're going with the flow. We're just chilling. We're being thing. And Judas is outraged, man. The whole story is about Judas being outraged at what he sees and what's happening, and he doesn't like any of it. So it's Jesus is being calm through the whole thing, and he's like, you know, just enjoy the time you have with me. Things are like, Jesus has this picture of things that are going to happen, and he has this whole prescience of what the future's going to hold. And Jesus knows he's dying. You know what I mean? He knows what this is all going to do, and he's like, whatever, we just got to go with the flow. And then Judas is like, I don't like this. Like, he's like, this is... And Judas sees the writing on the wall, but he doesn't realize that it's part of a master plan. But he has this frustration built up, and I think that's why the performances are so polarized, too, because Carl Anderson has to play Judas, who's just frustrated the entire time, trying to break this thing down, where Jesus is just like, this is God's plan, this is what we're doing. And I think that's why most of his...
That's true.
I think that's why most of Ted Neely's songs are more subdued and laid back until he really questions why he has to give up his life. When he starts seeing that people don't even give a shit, and he's like, what the fuck am I doing this for? And that's, I think, when Ted Neeley has his moment to really start to try catch up with Carl Anderson, as far as intensity
Now you're
goes.
right. Yeah, I think that's a valid point. Can I ask a question, though? And this might be might be an offensive territory for us to go into, but I feel like I mean,
that's where we're at. That's this whole episode.
I mean, we should have known that this was going to happen. There's no way to really break down Jesus without pissing somebody off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did anybody else get really strong David Koresh vibes from Jesus?
Yes. You know who did?
Who?
Sarah. She's like, yeah. Judas is, like, he sees this whole, like, not David Koresh, but she's like, this is a total Jonestown situation ready to happen. And Judas sees it. Mm-hmm. And she's like, that's why he's so pissed off, because, like, this is exactly how those things happen. Like, if you know anything about Jonestown, about, like, Jim Jones and stuff, how he did, like, huge things for for impoverished people and things, and that's how he got such a following. He was a messiah type, and then when fast forward, how many people are laying dead?
Oh God, and children.
It was like 900 something.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so you're not alone on that assessment.
I hate to even make that comparison for fear of upsetting anyone, but in this film, I certainly, dude, I don't think you could avoid it. Like, it certainly felt very culty.
Well,
I mean, I think it was intentional.
Well, and then you look at it from the Romans' perspective, and that's exactly what they saw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting idea, too, because, like, if you think about it, like, these people are in an extreme situation. And this is something, when I said earlier about, like, I realized certain things as I got older and watched it. Like, even Judas says, we are occupied. Like, this is our home country that we don't control anymore. There's another powerful force in your home that dictates everything you do. So these people are scared. Like,
they're looking for a way out.
Exactly. So there's a whole story element there that's, when people are scared, they don't act like maybe in their best interest. They act like scared people, and I think there's a lot of that, because one of my favorite, when you talked about other performances that we liked, I really liked Larry Marshall, who played Simon the Zealot. Do you remember that part when he's like, you have the power, you have the glory, and he's like, these people, when they start flocking to him. And Sarah said it was so tragic because later when they turn on him and they're like, you have to crucify him, you see all those same people that were in that scene with Simon the Zealot, like dancing and praising him, were the same ones singing that they want him crucified.
Yeah.
So, should I tell a joke? Shit got real intense real there.
No.
It's just the fickle nature of humans. Really.
Yeah, we're fickle.
Yeah, we are.
And I think that's one thing I really like about the story. It just shows the vulnerability and how fragile we really are, and how fragile our
But it's, I mean, look, you hear about history repeating itself constantly. And even in our short time on this ball floating in space, it's unnerving to me how often I see the fragility of humanity. And Justin, you were saying how, like, people, when they're scared and they're put in potentially compromising positions, sometimes they act irrationally. And it's just heartbreaking that we as a people can't learn from, and I'm not saying that, what Jesus did back then, I don't know. I mean, the story has been so altered over time, it's hard to say for sure. And I'm not even comparing this to the Jesus story, but just in recent history, when you see these, the Waco, Texas, David Koresh situations and the Jonestown situations and these cult situations with with these strong leaders that know how to push buttons and get people to do, in some cases, horrific things. Yeah. It's just devastating that we haven't gotten past that yet. We keep letting this history repeat itself. Yeah. And, it just sucks.
It'll never stop.
What? It's crazy, too, because something that keeps popping up in our podcast, I've noticed over the 30 some episodes or wherever we're at. Which is also relative now because the Dune movie's coming. As we constantly talk about Dune,
Yeah.
the whole thing about Dune in a nutshell, not just the first book, but overall, is about like there's a certain level of being wary of charismatic leaders, you know, because even like not to compare Jesus to Hitler, because I've made worse comparisons in my life.
I don't know that you have.
Is there a worse comparison in the history of mankind?
No, I think you hit the zenith there, Justin. That's it. There's no
I've
going
ascended.
up.
But you know, like Hitler was very charismatic, and he got a lot of people in. Oh yeah, this guy. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I feel like in the Dune series with Paul Atreides and everything, there's a certain danger. And even when you're reading the first book, especially, Mike, you said you're reading it now.
No, I finished the first book.
Oh, you finished it.
Yeah.
But you see how he's such a charismatic, likable leader and everything. And then, and not to spoil too much, but as you start reading the rest of the books, you realize how that also, how it helped them can also, it's a double-edged sword. It can also, like, lead to, like, unchecked can lead down really dangerous paths.
Sure. Look at and you know, talking about charismatic figures. Look at another perfect example, Charles Manson. People just gravitated to him.
Yeah.
Just because.
So funny, just the psychology of people and how some people just have that power to just be able to tap into the voids that others have within them that are looking for some kind of sustenance or something to fill an emptiness.
Yeah.
It's just wild. It's just wild to see that. But to bring it back to the point, and then we can move on to something else, is just I got strong vibes of a cultish type leader in the portrayal of Jesus in this specific film. Now, take that for what it is, but that's just what I perceived.
Now, like I said, I think that was intentional based on the fact that we're supposed to be following Judas, and Judas sees that, and that's his biggest hang up.
From his perspective.
Things are getting a little weird.
Yeah.
So Ted Neeley, we'll just rattle off some of his works. So Ted Neeley has got 17 acting credits, which I thought he would have had more.
I think he did a long stint just doing Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Jesus Christ.
I just edited myself for no apparent reason.
I think both him and Carl did that. I think they spent large periods of their life dedicated to these roles, which is cool. But he also did some TV in the 70s. Starsky and Hutch, Man from Atlantis, not familiar with that. McLaren's Riders, not familiar with that. But he also did, I thought this was interesting, 2012, Django Unchained. He was a tracker.
Really?
So that's really cool.
Huh.
Yeah, you only see him for a brief second as they're going by. You see him standing there, like coming. I think he's one of the guys. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I think there's a part where they're on like a carriage or something. Yeah. And there's some guys that come out of a cabin, and he's one of them, and like looks up at him.
Okay, nice. So that's cool. This is trivia via IMDb. He was able to play Jesus throughout his career. In 1975, he appeared in a show with both Carl Anderson and Yvonne Elliman, reprising their roles. In 1992, Neeley and Anderson appeared in the AD tour. Originally, it was supposed to last a year. Instead, it went until 1997, touring for 5 years and grossing over $100 million. So, yeah, I would say he's set. Just what this film has offered to him alone would probably be.
And he seems pretty happy about it.
Yeah. Yvonne Elliman, we have to talk about her. Mary Magdalene, she played. Oh, well, let's see here. So she only has 4 acting credits. Jesus Christ Superstar, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, a couple episodes of Hawaii Five-0, and then I guess a music video for Eric Clapton. So that's interesting.
Forever Man.
Yeah. But she has 25 soundtrack credits. So she apparently is more musician than actress.
Yeah, she can really sing.
Yeah, for sure. One notable actor I want to point out is Paul Thomas. Do you know where I'm going with this, Justin?
Okay, no, I didn't. I know where you're going, but it's not where I thought you were going to say, yeah.
So, yeah, Paul Thomas played, who did he play? Peter? Fittingly so.
Yeah.
Oh, is he a porn star?
Yeah, he ended up getting into the adult film industry.
I don't
Also
even-
directing probably just as many movies as he starred in, I think.
Oh yeah, let me see. So let's see his. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Time out. So let's just look at actor. So his actor credits, he has 388 credits on IMDb. And
That's
then
a lot
his
of loads.
oh my God. And then his
Yeah,
director.
and you're using the term actor very loosely, by the way.
Yeah. Director. Mike, you want to guess how many director credits this guy has?
500.
458.
Wow, I wasn't far off.
No, you weren't.
Let me ask you, Pat. Were you more of a fan of his Deep Throat Girls movie or Flesh Fire?
I think Blonde and Blonder. Or Debbie Does Iowa was a good one.
Oh, okay.
Or Maneater.
Not Sex Asylum 2?
No. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was
No
interesting.
judgment.
So
I just love this. I love the titles of porn movies. Like,
Yeah.
I could go on and on.
None of those are as good as I Was 18 50 years ago.
yeah.
Part 4.
That is pretty good.
Part 4. Yeah, so Paul Thomas as Peter went on to some adult film
Good on him.
stuff. Yeah,
Follow your heart.
that's right. Okay, so any other thoughts, anything we want to touch on before I dabble into Pat's points?
I wanted to bring up, this is where I thought you were going, was about Josh Mostel, who played Herod, King Herod. I thought that's who you were going to bring up.
No, but have at it.
Do you not remember him from Billy Madison as the principal?
Oh, let me
Oh, he's in Big Daddy also.
He was also he was the principal that, like, his secret was that he was like a wrestler at one point that, like, broke a guy's back or something.
Oh, yeah.
Here, hold on. I gotta bring him up. Why can't I find him on here? What's his name? Josh?
Josh
Josh-
Mostel.
Mike, you're not helping.
Just look up the movie. Get the cat. Look up the cat.
I'm looking at it. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, he's got 66 credits. Let's see. So he has done. So Jesus Christ Superstar, obviously.
He was in City Slickers as well. If you saw a screenshot, you probably recognize him from that.
The Money Pit, Wall Street. Oh, he was in an episode of Beverly Hills 90210. Cheers. Yeah, City Slickers. Was it 2? Was he in the he was in the first one too. Okay. Basketball Diaries, Billy Madison. Yeah, that's interesting. Let me look at some photos of this.
I don't
guy.
remember him on Money Pit. Billy Madison, because it's funny, while we were watching it, Sarah was like, isn't that the guy that played the principal from Billy Madison? I was like, what? No way. And I looked it up, and sure enough,
There's no way I would have recognized that.
22 years later, he played the principal in Billy Madison, and she picked it out.
That's wild. Huh. All right, well, I learned something today. So that's cool. All right, so any other final thoughts before I hit Pat's points?
The only thing I wanted to bring up, one little topic, is I don't know if you guys experienced this. Justin, you did briefly mention that you're not really religious, and that applies to me as well. I'm not religious at all. Point being, that brings me to my topic.
Take your time.
Is people who won't watch a certain type of film because they don't believe in X. For instance, if you're not religious, I won't watch Jesus Christ Superstar because that's about Jesus and I don't believe in that. Okay? And I will point out the
But
fact...
the Lost Gods of Egypt.
Yeah. Well, I know people who say, I won't watch The Exorcist because I don't believe in demonic possession. I think that's stupid. I don't,
But I do believe in mutants, so I'll watch the X-Men movie.
That's my point. But you'll watch a vampire movie.
You know what? They're pussies, and they're just making excuses why they won't watch one of the most terrifying movies of all time.
Exactly.
They're like, I heard people passed out in the theater, and I don't want to pass out watching it, and then someone touched my butthole.
That to me is
it's
like
fucking
such a
dumb.
cop-out excuse.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not religious, but I can watch biblical films and enjoy them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but people have some odd tendencies. Like, I mean, you can take this down various roads. Like, I used to work with somebody years and years ago who wouldn't celebrate Halloween because they thought it was a satanic holiday.
Oh yeah. I've heard
and
that.
even
too.
for their children, like wouldn't dress them up like Powerpuff Girl and send them out for candy.
Yep.
Like, I've known people who wouldn't use the red pens because they think it's the color of the devil.
On the same note, I know people that won't use white lighters to smoke weed because they think it's bad luck.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In what way? Like, what does the white represent?
I don't know. It's just something that I know certain people would do.
All right, well, look, I want to hear about this from the guild members out there. What are some odd tendencies that you guys know of that, like, for example, like the red pen? Won't use a red pen because it's the color of the devil. What is there tendencies that you're aware of or that you feel yourself that you can't do or is, something you need to avoid because of a deep-rooted belief or...
I don't eat gray shrimp.
Well, that's probably that's a healthy decision, right? I mean, a gray shrimp is usually undercooked.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't eat salad until I was well into my 20s.
And it shows.
Was it?
What? I didn't hear him at all.
He said, and it shows.
Oh. You
I'm
call
just
me
joking.
fat?
I wasn't calling you fat. I just said you don't have a good skin. I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just joking.
Hold on, I have a question though, Mike. Is it rooted in something, a belief, or is it just because you didn't like the taste of it?
It was rooted in the fact that I thought they were leaves, and if I wanted to eat leaves, I could just go out in my backyard and grab a handful and eat
Smoke
them.
'em.
It'd be the same thing. That was my thought process. Those are leaves. They're not for eating.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No judgment. When did you get over that?
In my 20s.
Okay.
I don't know. I just finally decided to try a salad, and I was like, oh, that's okay.
Do you like them now?
Yeah, I eat
Do you like
salads
them?
all the time, yeah. Not all the
I'm
time.
really regretting that no judgment statement I said before I asked the question.
But no, my original point was just like people that like turn their nose up at certain types of films because they don't believe in that. It's like, you love zombie movies. You fucking believe in zombies? Shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they do. I don't know. It's just a weird concept to me. I don't enjoy this because I don't believe in that. Well, so what?
I feel like it's a cop out not to watch it instead of being like, I have no interest in watching
Yeah,
it.
just say you
say
don't.
that.
Just say
don't
it
be
doesn't
like,
interest you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do want to hear from the guild members out there. I'm intrigued by odd tendencies now. Like if you have a tendency or you've encountered a tendency, I don't care what it is, having to do with the color of a pen or a holiday or eating a certain type of food like Mike. I want to hear about it. That shit.
You ever eat
intrigues
human
me.
shit out of a diaper?
Oh my God.
Wait, that was from our conversation before the podcast.
I don't think
wasn't
that's
it?
going to make any sense.
Okay.
Does it need to make sense?
You know
though?
what? Fuck them. Leave it.
That's got to stay in.
Figure it out.
Oh my God. Anyway.
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
You have?
No, I mean, no. No, I haven't.
Gotcha.
Freaking
Set
weirdo.
up.
All right. Any final thoughts before Pat's points?
Nah, that was it.
All right, Justin, hit me with it.
Pat's points!
Yeah.
Wow.
That was supposed to be like when Jesus is going, get out! But I got nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I wasn't going to even embarrass myself by trying to imitate the late, great Carl Anderson.
No, you did a damn fine job.
Thank you.
So, director Norman Jewison, we talked about him already. Powerful opening song by Judas. That was when I knew I had to keep my eyes on him because that shit, like, he hit the ground running. It was nuts. I like the I don't know why I like this line, but it just jumped out at me. I have it on my notes here. Quote, scripture thumping hack from Galilee.
Oh, I do like that too.
Oh, I also have this on my notes. This is interesting because we had a little delay here in our recording, so I watched this movie about a week and a half ago. So I've sort of forgotten a little bit. This is why I have to note things. But I have on my notes, I'm with Judas and his skepticism. So
Yeah.
I could totally relate with why he was angry and acting out because he was seeing some shit he wasn't feeling, which I thought Justin wrapped up quite nicely earlier in the episode.
You sure did. Thanks, Mike.
I wanted to know what the table of peppers did to upset Jesus so badly. when he was running through the little the market.
Yeah.
I could totally understand him knocking over the weapons and breaking the mirrors, the extravagant clothes. A lot of things had a deep message. But why the peppers?
I think at that point he was already in the holy rage,
Yeah.
and I think nothing was. Yeah, all tables were fair game at that point.
But what I thought was interesting, like a lot of the elements that he was like trashing, and for anyone who hasn't seen the film, there's a scene where Jesus is angry and he's trashing this market, and in the market they're selling guns and they're selling mirrors and vanity and they're selling clothes and lust. There's women dancing.
Aren't they gambling and stuff too, I think?
Yeah, and gambling, and he's destroying everything. But for some reason, I did not understand the peppers. It was like the one thing that I couldn't rationalize to some kind of deep-rooted message.
Yeah.
Possibly he didn't think that, one, you should be paying for food, and two, you should be selling food to people. Maybe he thought food should just be for everyone and not for profit.
Oh, that's
Maybe.
a valid point.
I don't
Mike.
know.
I didn't think about
That's
that.
just...
I think it would have made more sense if it was a table full of shellfish.
Yeah. Or like something that was
Yeah.
like, caviar or something that was like expensive and like over the
Yeah.
top and not necessary.
True. It would have been a better point, but maybe the point is that it was such a trivial thing, and he just doesn't think that should be an expense.
Yeah.
Or
That's
profited from. Both sides of
That's
it.
an interesting way to
I
look
don't know.
at it.
I don't know if that was the point, but
I could certainly rationalize it that way so I can feel better at night, which is ultimately what's important.
kind of like everyone has the right to food without having to pay for it.
Yep. Okay, so I want to talk about Norman Jewison a little bit more. I thought there's some really intriguing things about him as a director, but then also about the situation post Jesus Christ Superstar, which I think is intriguing. First of all, he directed 12 different actors in Oscar-nominated performances.
Wow.
Jeez.
Alan Arkin, Rod Steiger, Topol, I'm not sure who that is, Leonard Frey, Al Pacino, Adolph Caesar, Anne Bancroft, Meg Tilly, Cher, Vincent Gardenia, Olympia Dukakis, and Denzel Washington.
Wow.
Jeez.
Steiger, Dukakis, and Cher won Oscars for their performances in the films in which Jewison directed them. So that's fucking serious.
Yeah.
One was Moonstruck. Did you say Cher?
Yeah, Cher. And then I'm guessing Denzel from the boxing film.
Hurricane.
Hurricane. And Olympia Dukakis. Did he do... he didn't do the one with Julia Roberts, did he?
Pretty Woman.
No, not Pretty Woman.
Holy shit, he did Rollerball? I didn't even realize he did Rollerball.
Okay, well, listen, I got something really interesting about that.
Okay.
We can get back to the Olympia Dukakis role. I'm not sure what film that was in. He directed the original versions of both Rollerball and the Thomas Crown Affair. Both films were later remade by John McTiernan.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Olympia Dukakis. Let me see what film she did of his. Oh, was she in Moonstruck as well? Did she win? Oh, hold on. Let me see. Who directed Steel Magnolias? That's what I was thinking of. No, that wasn't him. I wonder if it was for Moonstruck. Did that win 2 Oscars?
Could be.
That'd crazy.
She might have been Best Supporting Actress or something. Oh, she's in Steel Magnolias.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm here to tell you. Say
Yeah.
what you will. I fucking
Do it.
love Steel Magnolias.
Dude, I am so
Never saw
with
it.
you. I am so
Yeah.
with you. That film hit me hard when I was younger, and I saw
Yeah.
that.
I've never seen that movie.
Dude, what? It's amazing.
That's a great fucking movie.
Sarah got me to watch it because her and the sisters, it's like their thing.
Yeah.
Like, they talk about it all the time, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll watch this fucking movie. Dude, it's an amazing movie. Cut this shit out. I don't want Sarah knowing that I love it. So.
It's an amazing movie, and it's gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
It's a gut-wrenching movie.
And the cast is amazing. I don't even really like Julia Roberts, but
No, I
like-
don't either.
but she's great in it. Like, I couldn't imagine anyone else in that role. I love Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
I'm actually, as I get older, I'm like a huge Dolly Parton fan. Like, I was listening to Dolly Parton music on Spotify the other day while I was
yeah?
cleaning the house.
Nice.
Yeah, I was just like getting into it, and like, so now I have like a Spotify mix channel, and it starts mixing. Like, it's starting to get really weird because it started off with like Church of Misery or something. Like, I was listening on the way to work, and by the time I was like rolling into work, it was playing Dolly Parton.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So this is really interesting, but certainly worth mentioning. Norman Jewison was the original director of Malcolm X, 1992. However, he had to withdraw from the project due to outside pressure demanding that the subject be made by a black filmmaker.
Oh, wow.
That sort of ties into what we were talking about earlier, and I think that's a wild, what would you call that, Mike? When something is like a reflection of something else, what's the term I'm thinking of?
Mirror.
No, not what I thought.
Reflection?
No, when something happens and then something kind of like
Mirage.
is similar to what happened, but it's
Coincidence.
not coincidence. On a
Serendipitous.
maybe when it's on a parallel. It's like a parallel. I guess that's kind of
Parable.
That's kind of the word I'm looking for. Parallel. It's a parallel.
It's a parable.
Okay, you know what? Forget it. Forget everything I said.
No, I don't know. I don't know what you're struggling for.
So Jewison has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 7000 Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood, California, and he got that on November 14th, 1988. And he was also awarded a star on Canada's Walk of Fame in Toronto, which I just now found out was actually a thing.
I didn't know that was a thing either.
So that's interesting.
A lot of people don't know this, like for listeners around the world, because sometimes you don't really know, you don't have like an inside track on what things, like I don't know what's going on in India. Like I don't know what they like. I don't know like dislikes in general that they do. Mm-hmm. But I want to tell people that are listening in other regions, as Americans, we don't give a fucking shit about what happens in Canada at all. It's such fucking,
true.
It's like peanuts. We don't give a shit. It's like so insignificant. They're
That's
not even on the
horrible.
radar.
No, that's not
No, I'm
true.
just kidding. No, I love Canada. I want to go to Canada. But there was a time in my life where I wanted to move to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Europe, fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. Everyone hates Europe. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyway, all right, Pat's points. So Andrew Lloyd Webber did the music. Tim writes the lyrics. We talked about that. The subjective moment when Jesus talks to God directly in the camera, which didn't quite have the impact due to a lazy eye. I mean, I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah. You know what's funny? We got like 5 minutes into the movie, it was like right around when you saw Jesus, like at the beginning when they dress him everything, and he turns around. It's that scene, and Sarah goes, "He's wall-eyed."
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, he is. I've been watching this movie for 43 years of my life and never once realized that until she pointed out. I'm like, how did I not notice that?
Yeah.
Which I didn't recognize him in Django Unchained because I think his walleye thing got I'm sorry if it's an offensive term. Again, I'm a middle-aged man. I don't know what the fuck's going on. That's what we always called it growing up. If it's called something else, please correct me. I mean no offense.
Well, I'm cross-eyed, so.
Yeah.
Not surprising. Go on, Justin.
But I don't find any of this offensive, so.
Oh, okay,
continue.
good.
So we're allowed to say this because we have someone in the guild who has the condition.
No, it's okay. I'm allowed to say it. I'm in a podcast with someone who has an eye condition.
God. We love you, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Mike just quit. He just turned off his computer and left.
He just walked off.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Go on, Justin.
It's been real.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I never noticed until she said something. But in Django Unchained, I noticed the guy, like, I had to go back and watch it a couple times, like, oh, that's him. He looked kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I think his situation had altered a bit with age or something. I don't know.
So can I ask a question?
I don't know how to talk about taste. I don't want to say, I grew up, like, worshiping this movie, so I'm trying not to, and Ted Neeley and everyone in it, so I'm trying to be
It was
very...
also 40 years later,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
I do want to ask a question because I feel like this may become... We may need to know the answer to this. But can a guild consist of just two people?
Yeah, I mean, technically, I don't know. I guess you could have one person in a guild.
I mean, because if
with
Mike
hopes of
does
having
pull the
people.
plug on this, I want
You're
to know.
about to find out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well, we got Clint Howard on retainer, so...
I like how Mike is threatening to quit when he's the only member of the guild who has been fired on an episode before. So
That's right. But we keep bringing it back, so yes,
I know.
he has...
He just shows up. It's weird.
Yeah, he has value.
Yeah, he knows the password to log into this online video chat. So
He's also, this has been discussed, I don't know on air, but it's been discussed off air that he is the sex appeal of the show.
he is, but no one would know it because we don't reveal our visual personas.
Yeah, how's that feel being the sexual appeal of an audio show?
I don't know. I'm so used to it, and it's a little stale.
Yeah, I
Yes,
know.
ma'am.
I can
It's
imagine.
old hat.
I've been dealing with that in my whole life.
Yep.
I still think we need to feature him more on our Instagram page because one thing I've noticed is when you start posting sexual energy online, like whatever, people start like gravitating towards it.
I mean, before we proceed, I didn't know that the conversation was going to go here today. So this is all.
I don't know why I'm being sexualized.
That's where well, I'm sorry, but like
I wasn't offended by the wall-eyed thing,
but
I'm offended that I'm being turned into a piece of meat.
But Mike, it's
Listen
for
here.
followers, man. It's for
yeah,
followers.
we're for followers. You want the numbers, don't
true.
you?
I do. Yeah.
Well,
We need to
I'll
get
do
the
it.
Cthulhu mask
What do I
out.
need to do?
Put on the Cthulhu mask, take off that shirt, and then we'll talk.
God. And then you can be back in the guild then.
Yeah.
Look, you guys are talking about the dude with sex appeal that didn't get married till he was over 40.
Yeah, you're playing the field. That's what happens.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Ian Gillan, Gillan. Ian Gillan was approached to play Jesus.
Because originally it was a record, and I think Ian Gillan played Jesus on the record.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so. Because I have the record. It's the brown cased record. You know Ian Gillan. You know who he is.
Yeah, he was in, what was he in? Deep Purple or some shit? What was it? Yeah, Deep Purple, okay.
He's one of the greatest in my opinion, one of the greatest rock singers of all time.
Okay.
He's a fucking amazing. Like, I wish... He's part of the reason I never tried to sing in a band. Well, I one time did and then regretted it, but...
Are you disappointed, Justin, that Ian Gillan did not play Jesus?
Not really, because I don't think Ian Gillan's an actor.
Well, what does he look like? Does he look like Jesus? I know nothing about Deep Purple. I mean, I know a couple songs, but that's about it.
I mean, he's more darker haired, and I mean, I love Ian Gillan. He's a great dude, but like, I don't know personally, but I love his music and everything. But I'm glad they did Ted Neeley because even though Ian Gillan has pipes, I think Ted Neeley, because of his performance in the stage production, is an actor. I think this is a role that needs someone who's a 50% actor, 50% musician.
Yeah.
You know, those numbers might be a little skewed. We maybe 60% musician, 40% actor, whatever. But
I'm looking back at a picture of Gillan from 1983, which is what? Was this 73 when it came out? So 10 years after.
yeah.
Even in 83, I could see him I could see it working. I mean, he had the long hair and everything, so his face is a little fuller than what we got, but I could see that happening. But anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Ian Gillan also did an album with Black Sabbath.
Yeah, I saw that. I just came across that, actually.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the Born Again album, which I used to hate when I was a kid, and as I got older, I learned to appreciate it a bit more.
So that's Ian Gillan. David Cassidy and Mickey Dolenz were also considered to play Jesus.
Oh, that'd be awful. I like both of them, but it would have been awful.
That would have been a whole different tone, I think.
Yeah.
Wait, Mickey Dolenz?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I read somewhere.
He's goofy.
I don't know. Maybe Jesus is.
And he was
got a
goofy in
bit
73,
goofiness
which
to-
I love. That's what I love about him. But I don't think it would have been the Jesus.
Maybe
role.
he was trying to get out of being typecast as Mr. Goofy Man.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was too goofy.
It's interesting. Apparently, the bus was number 666. Did you guys pick up on that?
No,
Yeah,
was
on
it?
the license plate. Yeah, it was something, some letters, and then -666 or something.
So I talked about Carl Anderson and how he had died. He got leukemia. Died 4 days before his 59th birthday. The Leonard Cohen song "Nightingale" was recorded in his honor. So that's cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He's awesome, by the way.
Yeah. And last thing I have, which is wild as shit, the very last scene as the film is ending, and you see the shepherd walk out with the sheep. Do you guys recall that? It's like a sunset.
Oh yeah.
That was not planned.
I just found that out this time watching it. Because I mentioned it to Sarah, and she's like, yeah, that wasn't planned. I was like, what? She looked online. I thought they had planned that. It just happened.
It looked so legit that I don't see how it couldn't have been planned. But apparently it was not planned. It was a complete and utter accident. They set up the shot to get the sunset, and the shepherd comes in, and the sheep kind of meander across, and it was just pretty phenomenal.
So was it an accident? Was it divine intervention?
Maybe.
Or is it because Israel has too many shepherds?
It could be that, too. But, I mean, okay. I would be really interested to find another example of a film that has an ending, that has an impactful message, that was a complete and utter fucking accident. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you have a film about Jesus who had just died 8 minutes earlier, and you have a shepherd come in this artistically inspiring shot that was an accident, like, to me, that seems like such... Why would that not have been written? Like, it seems so good. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, I would love to see if there's another film out there that has such an iconic ending for the message of the film that was an accident. I'd be hard-pressed to find
any part of the movie that happened that was that perfect.
Yeah.
Because even if it wasn't the ending, for that to happen like that in such a fashion is too perfect.
Yeah, and even to be framed so perfectly. Like, for example, they could have set up the shot, and the shepherd could have walked like half into the shot where his ass was like outside the frame. Yeah. That would have been fucked up. But this was such a perfectly composed shot. I just don't understand how that was an accident, but apparently it was.
No, I do think it would have been funny if it was like him coming through and like, oh, this is such a beautiful shot, and he's like, doesn't even know he's being filmed. He stops to take a piss on the rock.
Or he's like scratching his ass. Or he like, or he starts
squats down, takes a dump.
Yeah, or he starts beating one of the sheep because they like went too far out of line or something.
Oh yeah, that would have been awful.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been.
But anyway,
that wouldn't have worked.
That is all of my points. So unless anybody has anything to add, I say we get to ratings and wrap up.
Let's do it.
Do it up.
Justin, I'll leave it up to you how in what order we should rate it.
Well, I'm definitely going last.
Okay.
Because I don't know what I'm going to pick yet. I'm probably going to just mirror what Mike says. So I'll go Pat first, then Mike, then me, so I can remember what he said so I can copy it.
Okay. As far as a rating goes for this one, it's kind of odd. I'm not into the musical thing, typically. There's some exceptions. I'm not into the religious thing and the, like, really being inspired by this story, even though I was born and raised Catholic, went to Catholic school through like 5th grade or 4th grade. It's kind of an odd situation. This rating is 100% on the shoulders of Carl Anderson. Like I said earlier in the episode, if you've never seen the film, watch it only because of him. He's a true talent. I'm glad that they at least have this documented for life. But I don't see myself being able to rate this one high. Like, I just don't. It's just, unfortunately, Justin, I don't have the personal connection that you have. I could totally see you going high with this one because there's something deep-rooted in you, and it makes perfect sense. Even though this movie has had such an impact on pop culture, and even though I had never seen the film, there were so many elements to this film and so many sounds in this film that I feel like I've seen before because I've heard them so frequently in my lifetime. I don't know. It's kind of like middle of the road for me, though. I might just give it a solid 5, like right up the middle. Its impact on pop culture is, I mean, you can't deny it. But the personal connection for me and even how it moved me or really didn't move me, the only thing that moved me was Carl, like straight up. Other than that, the overall story of all of this, the Jesus and all of that stuff, gave me like a little bit of the skeevies. But it was the Carl Anderson stuff that brought me back. So I would say of the 5 that I'm giving this, 4 3/4 of it goes to Carl Anderson, straight up. So I don't know. Maybe that's unfair, but I'm going to give it a solid 5. But Carl Anderson is legit.
No, that's awesome.
You got to go with what Jesus tells you.
And that's why I picked you to go first, because I knew you would give a different aspect, and that we can forget your bullshit rating when we go on the mics. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think I was. Yeah. No, it's solid. Those are all very good points. Yeah. I think, I'm glad that you took something from it, and that's part of the reason why I brought it, because
Yeah.
a lot of people, like you said earlier, might not just watch it. Like Sarah had never seen it. And it's one reason I just wanted to watch it, because I wanted to finally get her. Because I actually have my mom's copy that I've had forever. I borrowed it
nice.
from her
That's great.
years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want Sarah to see it. And she's like, here, just watch my copy. And
Yeah.
like we finally watched it the other night. Like the day before my mom's birthday, too, which was crazy.
Yeah, that's
So-
awesome. Mike?
I am going to go higher than you, Pat, but not crazy high. I enjoyed it, and I talked about it earlier. I do, even though I'm not a religious person, like, at all, I do appreciate a religious yarn, a biblical story. To me, it's at the same level of any story. I just like good storytelling, whether it's true or partially true or not true at all. I'm not getting into that. And I thought this was well done, and I do like musicals. Not every musical, but I guess I like more musicals than you do, Pat, because you seem to not like too many.
Well, I mean, I don't know. If you rattle off a list of musicals, I can retort.
Grease.
Nah, I'm not.
No.
There you go. 5.0.
I do
That's
like, what was the one you said earlier? The Darren Lynn Bousman one?
Oh, Repo.
Genetic
the
Opera. That is pretty legit.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
I
actually did not like that one.
You did not? I do like...
I want to watch it again. I think maybe I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, like I had said before, there's a Rocky Horror Picture Show has a place in my being. I know.
And see, I don't like that one. So
And I do have a new appreciation for Phantom of the Paradise. What are some other legit... Oh, I mean, I did, to be honest with you, my mom was always a huge fan of A West Side Story, like the
Oh, yeah.
the classic old one. I don't know if they remade it recently, but like the old school one with Annette Benecello and what was the actor? Anyway, yeah. So that one, there's some there's some numbers in that one that was pretty legit. Anyway, continue, Mike. I'm sorry.
I thought this was well done, and I like different takes on the story of Jesus. Like I mentioned before, there's the Passion of the Christ, which is a completely totally serious, depressing goddamn movie, but it's a very good movie. And then you have something like Last Temptation of Christ, which is another interesting take. And then you have a movie like Life of Brian, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's a what if. So all these movies are vastly different from each other, but they're still telling the same story in a nutshell. So I'm gonna give this one a 6.66.
Oh my God. Somebody had to do
I
it.
couldn't imagine a better rating.
There you go. Well, good luck with that, Justin. You're not going to be able to top that one.
Well, I did say I was going to pair whatever he said or match whatever he said. So
That's true.
But I'm not. Or maybe I will. I don't know. I'm still kind of torn. I like this movie a lot. Obviously, I grew up with it. I just love the music in it. I love, as a bass player, and Pat, you as a bass player, the bass lines in this movie are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The music's amazing. The singing, I think,
I
is
want to
good.
be a bass player too.
Mike, you as a bass player in another
Thanks.
parallel universe. I like that about it. I also like one thing I didn't think about recently is I think we're all King Diamond fans, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And kind of I wonder if part of my love for King Diamond comes from growing up with this stuff, because King Diamond is just basically instead of a rock opera, it's just a metal opera.
Yeah.
It's just a story sung, from one person's perspective, though. I don't really do musicals, or at least I don't think I do, but then I'm sitting here counting. I like Grease. I like this. I like Tommy, which is the other rock opera they always bring up.
I do like the original Annie.
Annie, there you
That's
go.
a good one.
That's another musical. Phantom of the Paradise from the other room comes in that we already mentioned.
Cannibal the Musical.
Cannibal the
there we
Musical is a
go.
great movie. Yeah. So I'm not as much against musicals as I think I am sometimes, but I I just like the ideas that are presented in the story. I like the fact that this is like a bromance movie too. Like, I feel like this whole movie centers around the relationship of two men who genuinely love each other. And that's where all their problems stem from. Because if they didn't even really like each other, they would just like walk away. You know what I mean? You'd just be like, whatever, you're a fucking weirdo. I'm done with you.
I'm done.
You know what I mean? But I think,
Yeah.
they like generally just really love and care about each other. And that's like what drives them to this point. Like, even like when Judas like betrays him, he's trying to do it for his own good. He's like, you're becoming too much, you know? And then realizes he did the wrong thing.
You're becoming a superstar.
Yeah, you're becoming a superstar, which is another thing I meant to bring up is Tim Rice said that like he decided to use the word superstar even though at the time it was just a new word. It was a word just coming in vogue, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So it was kind of a risky maneuver because he's like, there's some words that just never make it, but the fact that that word made it kind of stays relevant.
So that was a risk.
Yeah.
So like Jesus,
like
Jesus Christ Jaunt wouldn't have survived.
No, it wouldn't have made it, no. Which, I don't know, that's going pretty strong. No, Greater Philadelphia region.
So 1.3, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to step outside the personal connection I have with it, and I still would rate it fairly high just for performances. I know you guys said that, like, you know, Carl Anderson's performance outshines the rest, but I do feel like Larry Marshall's performance was great as Simon.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a few other... I liked the guy that played Caiaphas. I can't think of his name. Bob Bingham. I liked Caiaphas and his other guy. I liked the fact that one was like a baritone or whatever. And the other one was more like a soprano or something. And I liked that.
Plus their hats.
Their outfits were cool.
Yeah.
Their hats were great.
Oh, their hats were awesome.
Yeah.
My wife wants me to get one.
You need one.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that when they were up in that scaffolding, they just looked like buzzards.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Plus, borderline deadly.
Yeah.
Real quick, I do want to say this, Justin, if you don't mind. Can I just step in real quick? Because something I did want to mention that I somehow didn't write on my points. The fact the entire film took place outdoors. There is not a single scene that happens inside. Am I correct?
Oh, you're right. I think you're absolutely correct.
Every single scene happens outdoors. I started paying attention to that, and I don't recall any single time that they went inside.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing you could say would be they were in that, like, cave, but that was still outside.
Yeah. Oh, that cave was really cool, too.
Yeah.
They said that in the director's commentary that it reeked of, like, bat shit.
Oh, did it?
Mm.
Yeah, they said it just stunk so bad, but it was a beautiful, like...
But
and they used all the natural light.
Nice. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry. I'm going to cut you off there.
I think we're just going to drop it at a 7.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know how that fits in with my other stuff, but that's where I'm at. Oh, I did forget to mention, I was talking to my uncle about this movie, because my mom, being a huge Jesus Christ Superstar fan, I mentioned it to him. He's like, I didn't really care for that movie. I prefer Godspell, which also came out in 1973, which we kind of touched on a little bit, which was another Jesus musical thing, which I haven't seen. But just from the trailer, I'll probably watch it at some point. But it doesn't look like I would have the same. It's more. It's like set in like modern New York or something like that. So, yeah.
All right. So our MacGuffin Guild average is 6.22.
I should have went higher to make it an average of 6.66.
I know. All right. So any final thoughts before we shut it down, fellas?
No, I have nothing else.
Good?
Justin?
I think I pretty much said everything that's on my short list of notes.
Cool.
I will say this. I am glad I finally saw this movie because, I mean, it's a movie I've heard about since I was a kid. I mean, you know, I was very aware of its existence. It's not like one of those ones like, oh, I've never even heard of that, you know. And it's weird that I haven't seen it up until this point. So I'm glad that, again, the MacGuffin Guild provided me that opportunity. So thanks,
and that was
Justin.
part of my thing because I knew a lot of people have heard of it but haven't seen it. So I was glad you guys took something from it. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just thought of something.
Yeah.
You know, was a thing that was super cool about this is a few years ago, I was actually able to take my mom to a live performance of this up at the Keswick Theater.
Nice.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I meant to bring it up, and it was awesome. We had a great time. I wish I knew the production company or whatever put it on, but
and where was it?
Up at the Keswick Theater.
Oh, Keswick. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is where for our listeners who are outside the United States.
It's in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And you're gonna have to give me a minute.
No, that's fine. That's close enough. So Keswick Theater in Pennsylvania, United States. Close enough.
Yeah. It's in Glenside, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But yeah, it was super cool, and they did a whole production ahead, and they made it like very immersive because like they actually had people marching down the aisles when they were doing like mobs and stuff like that. So that was cool. And she had such a great time. She was singing the songs while we were
That's
there and
awesome.
everything. So
it was like a Rocky Horror thing for your mom.
Minus the toilet paper.
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful we got to do that. And that's actually Sarah found it for for Christmas or something. So it was really awesome.
That's
so.
great,
awesome.
dude. So yeah, it would have been wild if it was in Bethlehem, PA.
Yeah, I know, so close. Yeah.
But anyway, all right, no, that's really cool, dude. I didn't know that you and your mom had that experience. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so unless I don't know how we could top it other than that, so I say we shut it down.
Okay, we should knock it down.
Let's knock it down. All right.
Let's crucify this episode.
Oh, Jesus God.
Yeah, I think we're already going to be crucified for this
man.
episode.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Pat, you got your work cut out for you, bud.
I know.
We're about due for a 20-minute episode anyway.
Yeah.
Justin, Mike, always a pleasure. Thank you, Justin, for bringing this one to the table. I'm glad I got to at least check it off the bucket list there. And
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Oh,
Also want to mention we have a really special episode next week, or next episode, whatever, 2 weeks or whatever. So make sure to check out the next one.
yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
We got something special planned.
Yeah, no, that should be cool. We're getting a little outside our normal comfort zone, but we'll have some fun with it. And hopefully we'll all learn a little something. All right, well, that's all I got.
Don't forget our social
Oh,
media.
yes. Thank you, Mike. Our social media, we are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord. And, we've started to get a little more active on Twitter than we had been up to this point. So definitely check in on that. But really, if you follow any of our accounts, you'll see the same content. Like we typically, for the most part, there's minor exceptions, but
Yeah, it's mostly cross-posted.
yeah, for the most part, you're going to see the same stuff. So
Oh, also, speaking of Discord, we always mention Discord, but apparently being old men, we don't realize you have to give people the address to the Discord to get on there.
yeah, oh
So
God.
keep an eye out for that. I'm gonna tidy up the channel a little bit, make some some more relative channels so people can post what they want. But please, like, jump in Discord, share your thoughts, interact with us. You know, like if you want to, like, hey, dumb shit, like you said the wrong thing here. We'll be very receptive to it and kick you off. So, please join up, sign on, and get on. We'll have a nice discussion without you.
Oh, so we did have to let people know how to get here? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah,
On
apparently.
Discord, yeah.
Yeah, apparently you have to send like a link out as like an invite link. So maybe we'll start putting that in our
All right.
Instagram and
Well,
Facebook post and stuff like that.
It only
so.
took us 38 episodes to realize that. So we're not too slow on the ball there. We're pretty
Yeah,
on.
there's definitely a learning curve, but we're getting there.
Yeah, well, we're middle-aged men and none of us work in IT. So what do you expect?
Yep. All right. Well, fellas, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yes,
and we will
sir.
see you next episode for,
Yes.
let's just say something a little pirate related, I think.
Yeah.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
There might be some Muppets involved. Maybe not.
Perhaps.
We don't know.
All right. We will talk to
Probably
you guys then. Peace.
All right, guys.
Howdy.
All right, I'm gonna see ya.
Later.
I raised you better than this.
What about Galaxy Quest?
Yeah.
Man.
That might be my
Untouchable.
favorite Star Trek.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite Star Trek movie. That's not a Star Trek movie.
I love
It's a
that
great
movie.
movie.
That movie's
Yeah.
awesome.
If you haven't seen it, turn this shit off and go watch it.
Yeah.
Go watch that now.
Yeah, stop
Sure, it's
wasting your time
streaming
here.
somewhere. Unless you're driving, in which case, focus on
Yeah.
that right now.
Keep listening to this shit. Close your eyes
Yeah.
and enjoy it.
Close your eyes.